نحمده ونصلي على رسول الكريم أما بعد رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي وربنا زدنا علما اللهم فقهنا في الدين. Okay, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today, inshallah, we will start Surah Ikhlas, which is, I think, the surah that all of us know. Qul huwallahu ahad. We know this by this name. So, inshallah, after finishing Surah Fatiha, this is the surah that we are starting. First thing, we are going to do a little intro of Surah Ikhlas. And then, as usual, we are going to go word to word translation of the ayahs and start discussing the meanings. So I will open my whiteboard. Okay, first thing we will talk about is the importance of the surah. So I don't think anybody who would not know the surah or who will, that's probably one of the first surahs that we memorize, right? Anybody knows why is the surah important? Anyone? Sumaya, do you know?
What?
Do you know why is the surah important?
Not really.
Okay. Do you think the surah is important?
Yes.
Riz, you want to tell?
It's saying Allah's name in like almost all the ayats. Like here it's in Qul huwallahu ahad, then Allahu samad, and then in the third ayat it doesn't. And then it in the end it's saying ahad, which is like also saying something. I don't know what it means, but I know that it has something to do with it.
Yes. So in the nutshell, this surah introduces us to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This surah introduces us to the basic concept in Islam, basic and most important concept in Islam on which our entire building of Islam is standing, which is Tawheed, which is oneness of Allah. Allah said, Allah will not forgive shirk, which is associating partners with Allah, and Allah can forgive anything else. So basically, the first and foremost thing that we need to accept for becoming a Muslim is La ilaha illallah. There is no God but Allah. That's the first and foremost thing. And this is what this surah is about. This is what this surah tells you about. So now you can understand why this surah is so important. In a few narrations, we get to know that this surah is equivalent to what am I doing? Yes. So in a few narrations, we see that it's said that this surah is equal to 1/3 of the Quran. In one way, you can say that if you read this surah 3 times, as if you have read the Quran, entire Quran. Isn't that amazing? You will get the reward of reciting the whole Quran if you recite this surah 3 times. But that doesn't mean that you should do that too often. But yes, that's the reward that one can get by reciting this surah 3 times. Okay, let's think why this surah is equivalent to 1/3 of Quran. Riz, you want to share something?
Probably because it's talking about Allah so much that it like makes it where it go up. Because it's in all of these like in these first two, it's like talking about Allah, so that makes it more makes it I don't know the word, but it's like its worth goes up, its value.
Yes. Yeah, that's right. Absolutely. It talks about Allah. So of course, this is really important. And remember,
it introduces us to him.
Yes. And remember one thing, Allah in Quran. So let me go back. Let me tell you what Arabs where the Quran was revealed. Arabs were really good at literature. They were so good and they were proud of it. They knew the art of writing. But when Quran came, they found a whole new world. So the beauty in writing is when you can say something, the point goes across and you use beautiful words and less words. That is where your writing really becomes beautiful. And that's what Quran does. So entire, there's no way you can tell something about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in just 3 sentences. There is no way. But Allah did it. Allah himself did it. He used just these 3 ayahs, 3 sentences to introduce himself. That is only Allah can do this. So let's talk about logically, why would this be 1/3 of the Quran? What do you think Quran has? Like any idea what kind of topics do you assume the Quran might have, Rohan?
Like guidance.
Guidance, yes. Okay, that's right. Let me write that. Guidance. Okay. Anything else?
History.
History. Very good. Okay. Anybody else? Okay. Yeah. So that's very right. So guidance. So let's see. And one thing, most important thing that nobody mentioned is, of course, Islam, the religion, right? The belief, what I would say. What exactly are we supposed to believe in? We're supposed to believe in Allah. We're supposed to believe in angels, prophets, books, day of judgment, right? So that's what Quran talks about. Second thing, very nice, talk about guidance, which I would probably call way of life. Like how many prayers should we pray? How much zakat? What other things we should or we should not do? Do not lie, do not cheat, those kinds of things, Sharia, which we called, right? Way of life. And number 3 is history. I mean, these are very, very broad categories, but you will find them there. If you look at it, belief mainly is believing in Allah. And that's what this surah is all about. And that's why this surah becomes 1/3, because out of these 3 broad categories that Quran has, this surah tells you about this first one. Make sense? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, let's move forward. And those who have your Quran books, let's start writing. I'm going to start writing here, and I want you to follow. Start writing on your Quran books. Qul means say.
Do we have to fill in the Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim part?
Yes, that's what you can do on your own, because I
Okay.
said the Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim in the beginning, and now the meaning, you can write it on your own, because now you know it, right?
Yeah, okay.
Huwa, he. Allah. Allah. Ahad, the one. Okay. Qul, say, huwa, he, Allah, Allah, Ahad is the one. Okay. Qul, say, huwa, he, Allah, Allah, Ahad is the one. Allah is right now talking to Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and telling him to say. Qul is a word that is which we call command. When you ask somebody or you command somebody or you tell somebody to do something, that is the word. Qul, say, tell them. Tell them what? Huwallahu ahad. He is Allah, the one. Say what? He is Allah, the one. Okay. So here the word that we're going to focus on is this one, ahad. So There is another word for the one, which is wahid. In one way, wahid and ahad are kind of the same. They're like, both means one. Difference between these two words are wahid means like the first as well. It could mean the first. It also means the number one in Arabic. Wahid, Ithnain, Salasa, Arba. Those who know Arabic numbers, they know it. They start with wahid. Ahad is slightly different than wahid. Riz.
Aren't they both two of the 99 names?
Yeah, they are. Yes,
Like
they are.
right next to each other?
Yes. Just like we talked about Rahman and Rahim, I think we also said Rahim can also be a name of a person. Rahman, Allah has chosen for himself. It's only for Allah. Here also, Wahid can be a name for somebody. You can name your child Wahid, but you cannot really name your child Ahad. Ahad should be Abdul Ahad, means Ahad's servant, Allah's servant. So, Ahad, the meaning of Ahad has the meaning of Wahid and more. Got it? So it has the meaning of Wahid, it has the meaning of oneness and more. So basically, Wahid means one. Whereas Ahad means
Only one.
one and only. Very good. Sorry for my handwriting.
It's actually good because when I try to write on a computer, it comes out really bad.
Yeah. So the word Ahad also has a meaning of uniqueness. Yani Allah is totally unique. Nobody else is like him. Got it? So one, only, and unique. So as I said, there are words in Arabic that really don't have one translation in English. That's also one of those. Ahad has the meaning of one, only, and unique. Riz, you want to share something?
No, in the end, what would that is the correct sentence of the translation become?
Okay, let's do that as well. Got it? Say, He is Allah, the one and only, the unique one. Nobody else is like him. Okay. Any questions, comments here? We can move to the next ayah. Okay. Allah. Meaning is Allah. Samad. Samad, usually we find the meaning here absolute. And just for the sake of, remembering, that's the meaning you can remember. It's okay. But that really does not mean anything. I mean, Allah is absolute, and I can write down the meaning for you. This. What do you understand when I write down Allah is absolute? She's?
Can I think?
Okay. You can think, and maybe Inaya or Saifullah?
Maybe it means that Allah has power.
That's one. Good. He's absolutely has power. Okay. Mahnur?
Maybe he's like absolute, like definitely real.
That's a good one as well. Zara?
Like he's the creator and of everything. He's absolutely the creator and the owner of the day of the judgment.
Okay. Yeah, that's so let me tell you, one of the, the basic word that Samad comes from is a very strong mountain that cannot be moved. Now think of a mountain and it cannot be moved. That's where this word, this word came from. But with as-samad, with alif lam, this is for Allah. And yes, this does have the meaning, what all of you said. A few other meanings that are there. One of the most common meaning is that somebody who everybody is in need of, and he is not in need of anyone. I'll repeat. Anyone whom all creation depends on, but he does not depend on anyone. Okay? So that is one of the definition of as-samad, that we all depend on him, but he does not depend on anybody. Just like, a mountain is there, nobody can move it. People can go hide behind it, but the mountain does not need to go and hide behind anyone. It's there. It doesn't need to go anywhere. So that's very weak analogy, but that's how words, they come and then they change their meanings. So basically the word absolute does not mean anything, but this is something that you guys will need to remember whenever you say the word Allahu Samad. That is something that should internalize that, yes, I need Allah. Allah does not need me. I need to worship Allah. Allah does not need my worship. I need to pray to him, but he does not need to pray. And he does not need my prayer either. All these things are included in this just one word, Samad. Goes back to the thing that we said in the very, very beginning, the choice of the words that Allah uses, they tell the whole story. We can spend hours talking about it. So, okay, anybody wants to summarize? What does the word Samad mean? Who did not speak yet? I forgot. Alicia?
Samad means absolute, meaning that you can't really do anything upon them because they aren't in need of you and you need them.
You need them, absolutely. Yes, so that's the main meaning, that you will find that we are in need of Allah, but Allah is not in need of us. We are the creation and he is the creator. Okay. Let's see. Let's go to next ayah. Lam, not. Yalid, he begets. walam, and not. Yulad, he is begotten. Very common we hear this. What does that mean? Hanji, Zara?
Is it something like forgotten, kind of?
It's like, having offsprings. Begets mean having kids, family, giving birth, having kids, and then their kids, and having families, and having an entire what do we say, our race or our generation?
Generation.
Yes, that's what it is, having an entire generation. So with that, just by saying that, okay, Allah does not have kids. With kids comes what? Needs, responsibilities. You are dependent on others, on so many things, their schooling, you're dependent on the teachers, you're dependent on, okay, what do we need to feed them? You're dependent on doctors, so many things. Allah is not dependent on any of these things. And then he wasn't created. He wasn't born to anyone. Like, he is the creator, but he had no parents. He was not a child to anybody. That's yulad. Got it? So Allah does not have somebody as a child, and Allah does not have somebody as a parent. These are, most simple translation of these. So Allah is absolute. He's not in need for anything. He's absolute. People are in need of him, and he's not in need for anyone. And he does not have kids, and he has no parents. Yes, Riz?
What's the sentence like for translation?
Sentence? Okay, I'm going to write that down. Okay. And, sorry, I'm just wrong. Okay. He neither begets nor is he born. And going back to the word as-samad, Allah is above and beyond these things. I mean, these things are for us humans, that we want to have family and kids, and we have needs. We get hungry, we want food. Allah is above and beyond all these needs. He does not need, people who don't have kids, they really want to have kids. The things we really want. We don't have money. We don't have, we are poor. We want money. So we care for these things. We don't have good to eat. We want something good to eat. But Allah is above and beyond these things. He does not care. He does not need. Yes, Zara?
I know the answer to this, but I just want to make sure. So if Allah was like not begotten or nor is born, does that mean he was like alive, like he was there forever?
Yeah. Yes,
Oh,
he was
okay,
there
thank you.
forever. And as humans, there are things that we will not be able to understand. And I always try to give example of things that, think of things that we created, for example, or humans created. Now we even created robots, right? But do you think the level of understanding, those robots can do so many things for us now? Whatever we tell them, they just do it. Or, these, what do you call this? Intelligence, artificial intelligence. You know, that's
AI,
Alexa,
yeah.
that Alexa that talks to you, right?
I have a Google Home that talks to
and
me.
Google
That
Home
talks, right?
Yeah.
But do you think those have the same level of understanding that we have, that Alexa or Google Home? They don't, right? They don't even know
No.
anything. They are just our creation. We made them. So imagine that relationship that we have with those things. We use them. We created them. We use them. We even like them. Allah has the same relationship with us. We cannot understand the entire dynamics of Allah, the universe and everything. When we don't understand something, we just leave it there, because that's where our mind is. That's how big the mind Allah gave us, which is Alhamdulillah a lot. But of course, there are things that we will never be able to understand, and which is okay. We should just live with that. Whatever information Allah has provided us, we are good with that. We are happy with that. And we will believe whatever Allah told us, and whatever Allah did not tell us, we're simply going to say, Allah knows best. Okay, so inshallah, we can end here. We will do the last ayah of this surah tomorrow, and we will do some summary as well, inshallah. Jazakallahu khairan. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz.